Hello everyone. Today we're looking at Psychonauts. There's a lot of, because of Game Pass, I've discovered a lot of different Tim Schafer games that I had no idea he made until I came across them. But Psychonauts is kind of the main game that is associated with Tim Schafer and Double Fine, and it's easy to see why. This game has a lot of soul. It has the energy of like a Nickelodeon cartoon along with actual proper well thought out game design. And the writing in this game I cannot praise enough because it is really funny. Basically the basic outset is that you play as Rasputin, who is the son of a circus performing family who essentially goes to psychic summer camp because he has psychic powers and doesn't really want to be, in the family business of just being acrobats. He wants to use his mind and, discover himself. And, he'll usually go by Raz by his friends. And so you basically go to the summer camp and make friends with all the other campmates there. What's very funny is you soon meet the janitor slash headmaster of the Psychonauts camp called Agent Crueler. And so basically he is this old man who is also slightly crazy and deranged. And, it's one of those games that where it has a level of comedy in it that isn't absolutely, forced or bad or anything. Essentially where, in order to contact Agent Crueler, you need to pop out a piece of bacon and he will pop out of a psychic, part of your ear so he can talk to you because he loves bacon so much. And it's just this little thing that isn't, harped on or, made a big deal of. It's just accepted and it's like, okay, cool. It's very funny. I really enjoy that kind of humor where it just throws out something random and weird and then doesn't bother really elaborating on it. But anyway, the dialogue is pretty much straightforward, very funny, and so you basically have this hub world, which is the summer camp, which you find little collectibles and things within, and then the main levels in the hub world actually are the other students or other teachers where you have to go inside their mind. And even when you finish completing that level and dealing with the psychic problem that person had, you can always go back into that same level and find collectibles. So the way the game is divided is that within every level there are obviously a boss and enemies, but there are also emotional baggage, which are these things where you need to find an assorted or complementary tag in order to unzip it and open it and bring it with you. And then there are figments, which are these things literally just floating in the atmosphere through the level that are things that you have to collect, while the emotional baggage are more so the difficult things to find in other places and are kind of the rare collectibles. And so, of course, fortunately, the game tells you how much of everything that you have and what you're missing and what you need to get. And very funnily, the emotional baggage, why it's pretty much always uniform and the same. The figments will always be themed towards the person or the world that you are in. And so some of these worlds deal from everyone from a tortured artist, to a, disco fever kind of theme, to a highly logical brain of, one of your instructors. And everything is kind of themed after their insecurities or their problems or whatever. And so the final boss is usually something where it's either a test of some sort or it's a figment of their imagination that is essentially tormenting them, and you have to defeat it to bring them back to their senses and deal with them that way. When you actually start the game, you start on this giant brain where you can load and save the game. It's actually a pretty funny, creative main menu, and you can also see different levels and universes that you've been to and revisit them and again, collect everything essentially. I definitely had trouble with that. There were a couple levels where I literally had no idea what I was missing and it was really hard to find it. You also have these other kind of, rare elements that you find around the campgrounds that are basically the currency you use to buy certain upgrades or even new powers entirely. And so the way it works is you basically will have 3 slots to map your powers to, which are LR and I think Y, or the action button. And so they will be things like, Psy Blast, where you can shoot a laser out of your eye towards the enemy, telekinesis, the ability to create a telekinetic ball you can ride on and, go around and increase your speed and ability. And of course, you've got one pretty much every level, as well as a few extra hidden ones. Also, a lot of the camp schoolmates will ask you to go on little side quests for them, either to find things in the environment or to deal with certain monsters or problems that they're dealing with. Also, Agent Kruller will comically show up around the environment, constantly doing different odd jobs, as if no one knows he's the head schoolmaster, and the other camp instructors will also ask for your help and usually put you on the main quest. I think the favorite level that everyone knows from this game is probably the level featuring the milkman, who just has no context, doesn't appear anywhere earlier in the story, and suddenly he just appears. And the milkman essentially is this guy who is paranoid that the government is spying on him. So when you go inside his mind, it's all FBI agents and talking mailboxes and street signs and sentient cars. And the milkman, basically is determined, to basically uncover the conspiracy around him, and that everything's out to get him. And it's a lot of, it's very funny. It's a lot of fun. And then the milkman, I forget how this works exactly, but his milk bottles become Molotov cocktails, and he destroys the barrier that was blocking you from entering the asylum, and crazy stuff like this. And on that point, the main story is Dr. Lobato is essentially this ex-student or ex-associate of the psychic campground, and he basically is a dentist by profession, but he has also turned evil, and so basically he is trying to kidnap kids and take over the world and all that stuff. And of course, the big twist by the end of the game is such that it turns out it's not Dr. Lobato who's planning to steal the kids' brains and take over the world, but actually one of the counselors. And so there's this big twist as to who it is, and then you kind of take the mission from there. There are also, Raz has a couple friends he builds relationships with, as well as this one girl at the camp. And so your adventures will kind of, shift and differ as you go through the game, and it has a lot of really great character building. What I really like about this game, honestly, is how small the environments are and how focused they are in terms of hidden things around. I really like these games where it's not focusing on a huge, massive, empty world, but a very small, focused world with a lot of things inside of it. Besides your basic powers, you also can use your hand to basically have these giant karate chops, to take out things usually like sensors, whenever things inhabit people's minds, or in the real world against wildlife and things like that. And you're also able to jump into the air and use a ground pound. Something else I really enjoy about this game is, the oblong character design. Even though it's asymmetrical and a little bit off-putting at first, it kind of grows on you as a very distinct style. And it almost, again, feels like a Saturday morning cartoon. It just has that really uplifting, funny, quirky energy to it. And they exaggerate either characters' noses or eyes or hair or ears or whatever. Raz also acts as a very matter-of-fact character to as a foil to the other ones, especially characters like Dawson or Dobson, I think his name is, who essentially says he wears a tinfoil hat because if he takes it off, he'll accidentally make mental contact with the squirrels and make them explode, and things like that. And just really funny things. The whole cast of characters in this game are just very well written. They have a lot of soul in them. And of all of Tim Schafer's games, this one stands out to me as one of his best and most creative, and just a lot of fun in general. There are, of course, different kinds of barriers you'll encounter in the worlds, and you can only come back there later once you have the right equipment to basically deal with them, and basically 100% the level or find something missing that you need to unlock a final piece of a puzzle or an upgrade. But yeah, the game is very lighthearted, very witty, but very well written. It's honestly a joy to play, and something I didn't think I would enjoy as much as I did. It really blew me away with how creative and funny and charming it really was. And that kind of leads us to, you know, the sequel, which is pretty much of the same quality, which I find very, very interesting. There's also this girl who has this pet turtle, and she, she's like always concerned about his safety, and like she will cooperate with you, but only if you save her pet turtle, who like this guy is holding hostage. There's just a lot of very funny, silly things that are almost like, I don't know. Like it just has a cartoon essence to it that is very also mature at the same time, and just very joyful and well written overall. In any case, I think that's pretty much all I'm going to say about this game. It has a lot of soul, and I'm really glad it has a sequel. And for anyone who has played the sequel, you should definitely play the original because it's just as good as that one. All right, see you later, guys.